So, I've got a lot going on these days. I'm running a business. At the same time, I'm trying to acquire some property so I can get out of renting. I'm very capable of living on property, building a house, doing things of this nature. Not everybody is, and it's a little different for everybody. But I went to the bank today because I've been fortunate enough to get offered, it's neither here nor there why, but I've been fortunate enough to be offered a down payment on some property. And when I got to the bank, they basically told me that what I could put down wasn't enough and my credit score wasn't enough and that I needed to do taxes. So let's just get this straight first off foremost. I'm in a different state than I started this business in. So I had to learn that taxes are very important in a state income tax state. It's not bad. It's actually way better than Texas, to be honest. Texas is going to get you on tickets. Texas is going to get you on toll roads. Texas is going to get you on car registration. Texas is going to get you on all kinds of shit. I think it cost me like a total of all my vehicles like $15, and that's the two that I drive. Whereas back in Texas, I remember last time I did registration in Texas, it was $74 for a fucking truck that was given to me. Anyways, it's just fucked up in general out there when you get away from it. And I'm not trying to talk people into hating Texas. I'm just saying the idea that state income tax is bad is not true. But credit, I was taught my whole life don't buy anything you can't afford. And I took that advice. I mean, I've lived that life. And I can afford this place. I just don't get anywhere. My wheels are spinning. Every time I think I'm about to make some money, I have to pay rent. And then I pay rent, and that's cool, except I'm pissing it out the window. It's not going towards anything. It's different even when you have a car payment. At least you're buying that motherfucker. Even though you're overpaying, you're still buying it. This is just never going to be mine, and I keep paying for it. And that's starting to bug the fuck out of me. I went to the bank today and they just, I don't know. Those aren't the type of people I normally talk to. And it was a lot of no. You know, there's a little part of me that was taught if you work hard, you get what you want in this life. And I've worked hard my shit. As long as I was allowed to work, I've been working. And once I figured out how to work for myself, I work more than I ever have. You know, the idea of being self-employed and taking days off, well, guess what? If you take a day off, you miss a client. So it doesn't quite work that way. I mean, I had to take a day off today just to go to the bank to talk to people about what I didn't have. It was fucking hard. It sucked. I accomplished nothing. That's not true. It lit a fire under my ass to get things done. I mean, I'm going to an accountant tomorrow. These taxes are getting dealt with. I'm not going to have this shit hanging over my head because the fact is I probably don't owe as much as I think I do, but I've built it up to a point where I just assume that I owe more than I'm ever going to be able to pay, so why do it? Well, why do it is if you want to own something, you're going to have to. At least around here. Credit, it's stupid, but this world revolves around it. And I fucking hate it. I really do. If I kick credit's ass, I'd fucking kick credit's ass, and you can see that in my eyes. It's a stupid fucking idea that I have to pay people more money for fucking something. Yeah, I can get credit cards and I can pay them off. Why do I have to do that? Why can't I just make enough money to buy something? Oh, well, because everything's too much for you to afford no matter how much you make, especially if you're renting a place. Now, granted, you can live with your parents, or you can sue people, you can do whatever to get the right amount of money to do what you think you need to do, but it's still, at the end of the day, probably isn't going to get you to the place where I'm trying to be. I'm trying to find my forever spot. I want to be somewhere and set some roots down and breed some German Shepherds that I can trust off my dog's bloodline. I've kept him uncut for a reason. And now I got hoop after hoop to jump through. That's what the bank told me, basically. Just keep on jumping. They also spit this shit at me. You got to be careful. Apparently, you can't go to the bank with any money because they would have had me. And I'm a pretty smart guy, I think, but they would have had me. They told me, well, if you give us $5,000... No, that wasn't $5,000. If you give us $1,500, we'll give it right back to you. And then you got to pay it back. And that'll raise your credit enough that you can get this house. So at the time, that sounded great. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I'll have this fucking done. That'll work out. I can make that happen. Then I got home and I started to think about it as like, I don't know, a piece of candy. If I have a piece of candy and I give it to you and you give it right back to me, and then I have to pay you for it? Well, that's a waste of fucking money as far as I'm concerned. I just don't see why that makes any fucking sense. Unless I'm that worried about credit and I'm just throwing money around like that, which if I'm throwing $1,500 around at the time, I can probably afford the property to begin with. So, it's all fucked up. And this world, this is another one that I hope some of you youngsters, I was never a country boy. I still don't think I am a country boy. One thing I like is the woods, though. I love being in the woods, and I know how to survive, and I know how to build, and I know how to do things that I've just learned throughout my time. This was never, if you'd asked me when I was 20 if I planned on wanting to be in the woods and putting this much effort into it, I told you you're fucking stupid. Also, I told you you're stupid if you thought I was going to live in Missouri. But here I am. So just know you never know what you're going to want. And then when you want it, my brain goes in circles, and I'm sure y'all can tell, but it irks me that I'm allowed to pay $730 a month. $730 a month. If I bought this property, it would be $300 a month. And I could afford that and then some. And I just don't see why there's this line drawn in the sand that's like, oh, you're allowed to overpay for rent, but you're not allowed to buy a place. You can't afford it. That don't fucking make no sense. And there's no stand we can take. It's just, it is what it is. And it fucking sucks. But pay your taxes. Keep your credit up. Start your credit young. And if you got kids, put credit cards in their names. My parents didn't do that. This is a difference between people who have money and people that don't. Is that you have the foresight to put credit in your kids' name so that they have credit. We'll see how this all plays out. I got a million angles that I'm trying to push it at. And I just don't know, man. I work my ass off, but it don't seem to be enough. And that's a hard fucking truth. that credit is what's going to save me. Shit I've never needed till now. So we'll see. I love you guys.